because when I first converted to Christianity, I was with the Protestants and stuff, and naturally to be a Protestant, you're like really anti-Catholic.
Yep.
With But as time went on, I started to look into the Catholic Church, and I started softening towards it.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, like, I do see Protestants like very passionate about Christianity. They're out there evangelizing and stuff. Like, my
Yes.
question would be, like, why aren't like Catholics, Orthodox out there like street preaching and doing
Exactly.
evangelizing like Protestants?
Well, good question. That Catholics and Orthodox should be the ones in the forefront, full of zeal in evangelizing, because if you look at the history of missions, those missions were carried out by the ancient churches. There were no Protestants, right?
Sure.
So before the 16th century, who went all over the world converting all these Aborigines? And it was the ancient churches, whether the Syrian Church of the East, the Oriental Orthodox Church, the Eastern Orthodox, or the Catholics. Even during the time of the Reformation, who was sending Christians to the Native Americans, Central America, South America? Catholics. So you're right. The Catholics and the Orthodox need to step it up and start evangelizing. So that is correct. But as far as street evangelism is concerned, now I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. For instance, some of the street preachers will go on megaphones and they'll be just shouting wrath and judgment on people, right?
Okay.
And very few people listen. So is that really an effective method of getting people's attention? A more effective method would be like the way Cliff does it, where he engages students and asks them questions and challenges them. That's a more effective method. That is something you'll see that even Paul would go into amphitheaters, he'd go to synagogues, or he'd go, in places where the public gathered, and he would engage them and ask questions and answer questions. So the way Cliff does it, right? That's the way it should be done. Not just going on a megaphone, hey, God hates sin and homosexuality, and, you're going to go to hell. No, right? So the way Cliff is doing it, right? Engage. Well, here's my question. Well, here's the answer to your question. Engage. That way I say yes. There's a biblical basis for it, because you even see it in Acts 17, where Paul is invited to the public market, the public square, the public place, where they would have these conversations, and he's engaging them. So yes, this is a rebuke of Catholics and Orthodox. They need to be doing it. They need to be out there. They need to be confrontational. I agree with you.
Yeah, I heard one of the Orthodox and Catholics argue that because Catholicism spread to the four corners of the earth, right? South America, America, Australia, it's just like, it seems there's no reason to do that because it's already spread around the world.
No, of course you have to constantly, because we don't inherit the saving faith of my grandparents. If I don't make it my own, I'm not going to heaven. So this is why these places are producing cultural Catholics, cultural Orthodox. Well, my parents are Catholic, or my grandparents were, but there's no passion because they don't make it their own. That means they need to be reached. They need to be catechized. They need to be challenged. They need to be called to repentance. They need to be shown why they must believe.
Yeah, okay.
Because I don't inherit the saving faith of my parents. Meaning, if my parents are diehard Catholics on fire for God, that doesn't mean I'm going to heaven. I got to make it my own. If I don't make it my own, all that means is I'll be more responsible, more morally culpable, because I was put in an environment where I did have the true religion and did nothing with it and took it for granted.
That's right.
Right?
That's right, Sam. Because I'm in Australia at the moment, and all my Christian friends, they're all like Protestants, and there's a big movement, within their community. They're out evangelizing, and I want to be part of it, but at the same time,
you can't be part of it if you're not convinced it's the fullness of the truth and you're about to make an exit. Because if you believe the fullness of the truth lie elsewhere, then you going and helping them evangelize, you're bringing them into that evangelical church that you don't believe has the fullness of the truth. And then you make an exit, you enter the Catholic Church, and you leave them in the evangelical churches.
Mm.
Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. So if I love my neighbor as myself, and I want the fullness of the truth, then I want that for my neighbor. So if you're evangelizing and you're bringing them into the evangelical church, well, you know the fullness of truth lie elsewhere, and you're about to enter the Catholic Church, then that means you've now done a disservice to your neighbor, because you left them in a situation where they don't have the fullness of the truth, and yet you want the fullness of the truth. Well, if you love your neighbor as yourself, don't you want that for him or her?
Mm. Yeah, because they give me all these papers and articles about how Roman Catholicism is false, and it's just like
You're in an anti-Catholic church. So what are you doing evangelizing so they can convert more people to hate the Catholic Church? Then their blood is on your hand,
I know.
and you're
Yeah,
going to be accountable.
yeah, it's a bit cowardly of me to like not tell, like to
No,
tell, not
it
tell
is
them.
cowardly. If
Yeah.
you are convicted of the Catholic Church and they're bashing the Catholic Church, either you leave and cut off ties or you correct the errors. But
Mm.
you're complicit if you're silent. I'll give you an
Yeah.
example. If you saw someone oppressing a helpless person who's either too old or too young and can't fend for themselves, and you sat there and did nothing, you're complicit in that sin.
Yeah.
Because you are to come to the defense and aid of the oppressed and the helpless. You're supposed to come and help them. But if you don't do anything and you let that oppression, right, that harm be carried out, you are now complicit in that sin. God will hold you accountable. How much more when it comes to salvation of people?
Mm. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit convicted now.
You got to either stop going, or you're going to have to say, no, this is all lies about the Catholic Church. And then they're going to tell you, well, if you don't believe in the Catholic Church, our church, then go, leave. Why are you here? They'll tell you, go. And they would be right. Why are you here?
Yeah, true. I feel like God always sends out like trial tests and trials and stuff to really see if your faith is genuine. And you know, my Muslim family was my first test, and I guess this is my next one with my Christian brothers, and to really stand strong in my faith, to defend the Catholic Church.
If you don't have the necessary knowledge to refute, then you need to leave, go and acquire that knowledge, and come back and then share with them, look, I found the fullness of the truth, and these accusations against the Catholic Church are false. But you don't do it in the context of the church. You don't go in their church and cause division. That would be satanic. Just like you wouldn't want an evangelical come in a Catholic church and then start preaching evangelicalism and condemning the Catholic Church. Leave. Why are you here? You have to do it outside.
Yeah, no, that's right.
You want others as you'd have them do unto you. You wouldn't like it if a Muslim came or an evangelical came or whoever it is and start preaching in the Catholic Church contrary to the teaching of the Catholic Church and condemning its teaching. You wouldn't like that. Well, don't do that to them.
Yeah,
Go to the evangelical church and do that. Don't go to the mosque and do that. Meet them outside.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Thank you. No, thank you. And I do want to say before I head off, you know, you're a big part of my journey to Christianity. Do you remember that? Well, it was recent. Your debate on Fresh and Fit, Jay Dyer and
yes,
those two Muslims.
What happened there?
Yeah, you destroyed them.
No, glory to trying God. Pray, God, fill me with the Spirit. And I finished the race, practice what I preach, and remain humble. I plan on destroying and burying Muslim metaphysician if he's man enough to debate me on Patrick Bet-David and Muhammad Hijab. I'm going to bury them worse by the power of Jesus Christ, as long as these dogs show up. So it's going to be worse.
Muhammad Hijab is finished, man. He's not even...
Yeah, I don't think he's going to accept. But he's been barking against Patrick Bet-David, and he's been calling him out. But Muhammad Hijab, I think it's over because the sexual scandals are so big that he's probably going to have to disappear because of all the Muslim women that he deceived into Messiah marriages just to have sex with them and dump them. The receipts are out. He's been now exposed, documented by Muslims, not non-Muslims. Him, Ali, Dawa, and also from EF Dawa. A couple of them were complicit. They were all working together, creating fake websites using AI technology disguised voices. It all came out. And I prayed that young lady who was actually misled by Muhammad to be pretty much his prostitute. He would meet her in hotels and sleep with her, saying we're married, and then dumped her. I pray she leaves Islam and come to Christ, because part of the story was she actually appeared on, I don't know whose channel. She appeared on either God Logic's channel and Christian Prince, but she actually went to Christian channels looking for answers to questions. And now, after what happened between her and Muhammad, her entire foundation is rocked and shaken that a Muslim would do that to her.
Yeah, and glory to Jesus Christ for exposing them, because they are the face of the Islamic apologetic scene, and God is doing his part in exposing them, and we give glory to Jesus for that. But yeah, hijab has to disappear.
Well, maybe now he will. But I pray that dog, Muslim metaphysician, shows up, because I will bury him and destroy him by the power of Jesus Christ. I'll bury him like Jesus buried Muhammad in hell. I'm going to silence that dog once and for all, like it did Daniel. In Jesus' name, because my confidence is in him. So pray for that.
Yeah, well, I pray for that. I'll pray for you and your daughters as well. I'm always supporting you. And yeah, keep doing the Lord's work. And God bless you, bro.
Lord bless you, brother.